call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
Serghei Spivac takes on Shamil Gaziev this Saturday at UFC Fight Night Qatar. And Serghei Spivac, 30 years old, a lot of experience in the UFC, still in his prime, on a 2-fight losing streak right now coming into this one. Lost to Waldo Cortez Acosta back in June, before that lost to Jailton Almeida. And Shamil Gaziev on a 2-fight winning streak heading into this one, beat Thomas Peterson and Dontel Mays. Before that, had his first career and UFC loss to Jairzinho Rozenstruik, where he quit on the stool after the 4th round in a main event. So both these guys are pretty well rounded, fairly talented for the heavyweight division. Isn't saying a lot, but I like Spivac in this one. I think that Gaziev, he's got fast hands for heavyweight, good speed, has a piston of a right hand. We saw that in the Thomas Peterson fight. Does a really good job of stalking his opponents, using his forward pressure, pushing them back against the cage, cutting angles. Did a really good job of that in finishing Budai in his debut, and he's just very aggressive. He'll mix in the takedowns as well, has some good pop on his ground and pound, can take a shot for the most part, eating the shots from Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Dude's got a massive head on him. But Spivac's no slouch in the striking. He has ever improving stand up. His hands looked pretty good in his rematch with Marcin Tybura back in August of 2024. His striking looked good against Acosta in his last fight, and I think there's an argument that he won rounds 1 and 3 in that fight to get that decision. I don't think it should have been a unanimous decision. And he's got good kicks. He's got good defense, blocking a lot of the punches from Acosta, who is a power puncher, blocking them with his hands on the forearms. The leg kicks that landed didn't really seem to affect him. He's shown some holes in his striking in the past. He was rocked by Almeida by a perfectly timed right hand, which isn't the best look. Almeida's not really known for his striking. He started to kind of slow down in the Acosta fight, wasn't really, matching the work rate of Acosta, and he's been TKO'd before. He's been finished, a few times in the UFC. Granted, it's against, really good competition. So the question with this one is, will Spivac be able to match the hands and the striking of Gaziev? I think the speed of Gaziev is gonna, it can be a problem. We've seen Spivac kind of wilt to fast punchers like Walt Harris, Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gahn. He starts kind of taking punches and will cover up along the cage. Even Almeida, like I said earlier, had a crisp right hand that hurt him. But I do think that he can hold his own on the feet, and I don't think that he's going to get bulldozed in the wrestling like we've seen Shamil Gaziev do to some other guys. Gaziev, he kind of telegraphs his takedowns at times, gets kind of quick feet before he shoots, and you can tell it kind of doesn't come naturally to him. At times he does have pretty lousy takedowns that I don't think will work against somebody like Spivac with the grappling credentials that he has. And Gaziev, being from Dagestan, having some good ground and pound and grappling in his previous fights, you would think that it's something he grew up doing, but it wasn't. He was on like the Dagestani volleyball team before he got into to wrestling and mixed martial arts in general. I think he met Khabib's dad at a game or something, and they convinced him to come in and train. So he doesn't have, you can tell in his fights, it's not something that he's been doing since a very young age, like a lot of these Dagestanis. So Spivac is a master of sport in Sambo. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt. He's a Moldovan judo and Sambo champion. He holds the record in the UFC for the highest takedown accuracy at like 62%. And I think he ranks up there like the top 3 for most takedowns in the UFC at what's like now 31 takedowns, I believe. Shamil, he'll shoot in for takedowns. He can't get them. He'll work in the clinch, but at times I feel like he'll just hang out in the clinch and look to work from there, land knees, land elbows when he breaks. And I feel like this could be an opportunity for Spivac to get some judo tosses going. He was able to hip toss Derek Lewis, got him into Kesikatame, and then immediately got the arm triangle choke. He hip tossed Jailton Almeida in their fight, which is very impressive. And if it does go to the ground, Serghei Spivac has a pretty nasty open guard game, for a heavyweight, for a big guy off of his back. Recently got an armbar over Marcin Tybura in the first round from his guard. Marcin Tybura, another, good heavyweight, underrated. And it's not very often that you see a 260-pound heavyweight getting an armbar off his back against another 260-pound black belt. So he's dangerous on the ground. I don't think that Gaziev's just going to be able to lay on him and land ground and pound. And, Spivac, he's got his submission ability if it does go to the ground as well. He's got submissions, got ground and pound wins, got KOs. He's really only losing to the best guys. His most recent fight against Acosta, again, I think that you can argue that he won that fight. I think that he landed the better shots, was getting the takedowns. And then you look at his career and you look at his losses. Walt Harris, athletic dude, big for the division, fast hands, got him in his debut. But, Marcin Tybura lost a decision. Marcin Tybura is a hard night out for a lot of heavyweights. But then Tom Aspinall, a fight he took on short notice. Then Cyril Gane, Cyril Gane just looked really good against Tom Aspinall. And then Jailton Almeida, was having success in that fight, beating him in the grappling for the most part until he did get swept, got dropped, and then got TKO'd. So was going, he looked good at the beginning, not towards the end. And then the Acosta fight, which I think could have gone either way. So I think Gaziev is just untested. I think he's unproven. I think he's getting layup opponents. You look at his debut is Martin Buday, who's got a good record. He's 7-1 in the UFC. He's on a 3-fight winning streak, but the UFC cut him. So it's just like, I don't think that he's top tier. I don't think the UFC thinks he's top tier, and I think that's why they gave him. And then they gave him a jump up in competition. And Rosenstrike, a guy who historically isn't the hardest to get down, and they gave him a main event with him. I think that they thought he was just going to bulldoze him over and get the win. Thomas Peterson got the right hand KO, didn't even have to really set it up. Dante Almeida couldn't put him away. I think he broke his hand in that fight, but still, I don't really rate a Thomas Peterson, Dante Almeida win, and even the Rosenstrike fight. Was able to eat his shots, wasn't having the most success on the feet, wasn't able to get takedowns, and was just totally gassing the entire fight. So I think that Spivac's the most experienced, well-rounded guy that he has fought so far. Spivac's not the type of guy who's just gonna wilt on the ground. He's not gonna give up. You gotta put some punishment on him and put him away. He's got the experience advantage in terms of going the distance or training camps to go the distance. He's got 3 main events. And we saw Gaziev kind of crumble when things got tough versus Jairzinho. So I like Spivac's forward pressure to kind of counter the forward pressure and aggression of Gaziev. My concern again is just with the hands on the feet. Gaziev with his early speed, his power, the blitzes that he has. He's got decent hand speed in these blitzes as he's pushing forward. But I think that Spivac will be able to kind of wear on him. Make him work. Tax the gas tank, beat him technically in parts of the fight. He's 30 years old, 5 years younger, still in his prime, much better experience level. I don't think there's anything Gaziev's going to bring to the table that he hasn't seen before. I don't think that he's going to get out grappled by any means. I think his main concern in this one is just to kind of stay safe on the feet, not take some powerful hands to the face. So I'm going to go with Spivac in this one. I think that he can shut down Gaziev and get the win. I don't know if he gets the finish. I think that he could get the finish. I think that as the fight goes on and Gaziev starts to wear out, it's not having the success that he's used to, I think that Spivac can take over and get the finish. But I do think that Serghei Spivac gets the win in this one. Thanks.